Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today at Ikonick Collection to drive this, quite frankly, ludicrous beast, the Hennessey Velociraptor 6x6. It is based on the Ford F150 Raptor with an extra axle, with power up to 600 horsepower, with a ridiculous sound, and just look at it, it is a monster. We've been inside here at Ikonick, the private collection of Barry Skolnick, and he's kindly let me take the keys to go out and take this for a drive to experience quite how absurd it is. Let's have a quick look before climbing up on board to go for a drive in the Velociraptor 6x6. The first thing that I need to do with this is to give you some kind of perspective about quite how large it actually is. If we come in a bit closer, the mirrors on the Velociraptor are basically at the same height as my head. This thing is huge. I'm not even sure if we can still call it a car. The size of the flatbed at the back is probably large enough to even fit a classic Mini. If you wanted to transport one, you could hoist it up into the back there. But as is expected with Hennessey from Texas, everything about the Velociraptor 6x6 is bigger. The power is bigger, the sound is bigger, the lift is bigger, the number of axles is bigger, and boy is it a menace. Look at this thing. It is absolutely crazy. A rival to compete, I guess you could say, with the AMG G63 6x6 at the time, launched with the Raptor a couple of years ago. Now on this car, the updated version of the F150, the most popular of Ford's pickups. And the Raptors are always the sportiest versions that come from Ford Performance, and in fact this car actually has a derivative of the same engine found in the Ford GT, so the same as my car with the 3.5 litre Ecoboost twin-turbo V6, but in this case up from the standard in the Raptor 450 horsepower to 600 horsepower, and everything that goes with it, including the exhaust we'll hear shortly. Around the front, we've got the Velociraptor lettering here underneath the bull bars. We've got all of the additional lights. You're not going to find yourself lost in the wilderness at all with this. It is significantly taller than the standard version, sitting on these large wheels with the off-roading tyres. You can see all of the shocks back here as well. But this, I mean, this is the ultimate hauler for whatever it might be that you want to be transporting around. Even in the back of the car, you can actually fit loads of things in the cab back here, because the way the seats fold back is pretty clever. You just do this, done, and you can fit whatever you need back here, nice and easy. To be honest, that's just super simple. If we come round to the other side of the car, I always quite like the new tail light design and headlight design that they have as well. The exhaust system here, powered by Hennessey, mark my words, sounds fairly incredible. We're going to be hearing that in a moment. This is decked out in the Ikonick livery with the skulls. We also have here on the murals the theme of Ikonick, the collection, out here in Miami, Florida. And this thing is just bonkers. So let's take a step on board. You've got the keypad if you want to have entry that way. We've got the key just inside at the moment. We've got a 10-speed auto gearbox. That is very much a step up from the ground. We've got the button just here. Let's take a listen. Built tough, and you can tell that from the sound. Listen to this. We're going to be hearing a lot of that in a moment. Obviously, with all of the tech and equipment that you get on the F150 fully loaded up. Here we've got the plaque from Hennessey, number 5, Velociraptor 6x6, Velociraptor 600. It's crazy that they make something like this. It's crazy that it exists. But let's take it on out and go see what it's actually like to drive. I'm not quite sure what to think before driving this, but let's go into drive. We do have a manual mode as well. I think we basically have the exhaust pretty much fully on, and I have to be super conscious of how there's about, what, 5 or 6 meters of car behind me. That's going to take a little bit of thinking, because you simply cannot drive a car as big as this in Europe. It just would not get around anywhere. I don't know how many of these Hennessey have built so far. Listen to that in the background, the gentle murmur. This is so ridiculously big. This thing is just tall and mad and all around ridiculously crazy. You are, I would say, aware of the weight of it. It feels like a big old heavy thing. There's no question about that. Stops all right though. That's the most important thing here. I mean, what am I driving here? Hennessey always make ludicrous things, from the 1000 horsepower plus, whatever it might be, variants of the Camaro, the Chargers, the Challengers, all the way through to the Venom F5, which I took a first look at recently, again with massive power and insanity in a very different way. Okay, around a corner, let's watch out for the curbs. Not that it would be a problem, because this would go just about any way you wanted to. Listen to that. In fact, if we go down into manual, drop down some gears here, down second gear. And to think that this can do like 0 to 60 miles an hour almost as quickly as the Focus RS, the stock Focus RS, to put that in perspective, Ford's hot hatch and this massive behemoth of a truck, it's just, I mean, out on a normal road, look at this, around normal cars, we are so much taller than anything else on the road. And the sound that it makes as well. But it's actually pretty comfortable, you know? The equipment level is good. In here, the seats are great. Obviously, it's an F150. This is one of those cars that makes so little sense that it somehow starts to make sense, which is an absurd thing to say in its own right. But obviously, it's not for all-around daily driving. It has a purpose, which is being the ultimate, I guess, both powerhouse, but also the status that I think comes with it because of its presence, because of what it is, because of what it can do. And they cost new $370,000, so obviously it's quite a significant investment in a massive, massive, massive truck. But I love that this exists. I love that somebody, well, probably John Hennessey said, yeah, let's do it, let's make it, let's make a six-wheeled F150. And here we are, thanks to Barry and Ikonick, driving the car to have an experience in it. The funny thing right now is just in front of us is a normal Ford F150, not a Raptor, and that would typically be a really, really big car, and I feel like we're looking down at it. We're quite that tall behind. Obviously, we're wider, we're taller, the lifted suspension system that they fitted, everything about this, I mean, it's so silly that it's brilliant. We're just going for a short drive. We're in the center of Miami, so we're not exactly best placed to be taking this off-road or doing something completely mental with it. But even just as a first experience, it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's just crazy, and that's what makes it work, I think. I mean, first gear, you don't have to move fast to be making a whole lot of noise out of it. I'm gonna take a turn here, and in fact, I mean, this is where, when the F-150 in front just goes around the corner, it's so small in comparison, such a, like, normal car. And then this thing, you feel the weight at the back, you're very conscious of the weight of the bed at the back. It doesn't ride like, I guess, a normal two-axle vehicle, because when you go over the bumps you feel that strange secondary. What would you think with this coming towards you? US means stop signs, which I always have to reset my mind and understand how they work. Watch the back as we go around the corner. Hilarious. I'm going to give this a little go. Just accelerate with the car for a moment. It goes up to 6,000 RPM. You don't think something this big should actually be able to get a move on, but it does. I mean, it's all relative, right? It's just the fact that it's so big that you don't think that should be possible, yet you've got instant torque almost. I think 850 Newton meters or so of torque. Going through the gears, I mean, down to first gear. Gonna go a little bit slower, there we go. First gear. What a ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous car in every possible way. Just listen to this thing. I mean, even the revs, we'll have a proper listen to some revs later on. If I pop it into first gear, watch and enjoy the size of this thing and the sound that it makes as we accelerate away. A little bit bonkers. I mean, I don't know what else you could want from it anyway. Let's head back inside. I've got to give you a quick sound check from this. Have a little listen. to how the Velociraptor sounds. It's limited to revving to 4,000 RPM or so, but still sounds a little bit mental. The thing inside here is that you have storage space and cubby holes beyond what you could ever realistically need. In the armrest here, if you open this up, and you have this tray as well, the amount of space inside there is large enough that you could rent that as an apartment in London. That's how much room there is. Cup holders, cubbies, some USB ports, the key for the car just here with the Raptor logo on the back. We've got all of the controls that you could possibly imagine wanting as well. You've got the locking diffs and the different four-wheel drive settings. You've got a trailer backup system. You obviously got your climate control. You've got the full sync system from Ford. More storage up here. We've got the B&O sound system. All of the carbon inlays and trims as well that come, and the embroidery as well from Hennessey up on the headrests. It's all quite nicely finished in terms of the upgrades to standard. Obviously still quite plasticky feel with many of the different things that you have around. Door handles are these grabs just inside there. We've got windows, mirrors, memory seats, light controls down here. I mean, everything that I guess you could realistically want. We'll turn it off for the moment. Step out. You've got grab handles up here. You've got grab handles just about everywhere you could possibly think of needing them. And then you've got the jump down to the floor again because of quite how high up it is. If we come and open the engine bay, which I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do on my own. This bonnet, or the hood I should say out here, is not the lightest thing in the world, but lift this up. We've got a catch just under here. I'm going to try and use my elbow to give it a lift. There we go. And inside here we have the plaque again, the Velociraptor, the Ecoboost twin turbo V6, the intakes that they've installed for it up here as well. And obviously that is making quite some power for this kind of thing. Hennessey, oh gosh, that is quite the reach up to the front of the bonnet. Very, very famed for the amount of power they put through some of these insane machines. Anyway, this thing is just mental. Like I said, you feel the weight of what's going on back here. Obviously it's much, much heavier than the standard F150 Raptor. But all in all, it's just crazy. It's just bonkers that that kind of thing exists, and that's one of the best things about it. I mean, back here as well, what else do we have? We've got the towing socket, we've got the different parts of the chassis that you can strap onto. You've got the loading deck, just pull that down. In fact, I'm going to take a quick step up inside here, show you quite how much space there is to give you, it's impossible really to give some perspective, but just, I mean, I feel like I'm up at some ludicrous level. You've got a rear window that you can open up inside the back. You've got the cover here that retracts and comes back as well. Obviously different locking and mounting points and storage points, and then a jump back down to the floor. And then you've got, oh, lift this up. It's actually quite heavy, that back loading part at the rear there. But yeah, what do you think? Hennessey Velociraptor 6x6. It's just mad, and we've not gone through the lights and we've not tested what it could do in some gnarly type terrain, but I can tell you, for cruising around, I think it makes quite a statement. I think it stands out quite a lot. I actually quite enjoyed that short little drive in one of the craziest things I've probably ever driven. That's it for now though. A huge thanks to Barry and the guys here at the Ikonick Collection. Do go give them a follow to see some of the crazy cars in the collection, but I will see you guys again very soon. Cheers!